Man, oh man, working on some technical difficulties. Welcome to the world of what? Man, technology. But we are back after a happy hiatus, sitting alongside of none other than Memorial Day. But it's your boy back in the studio again. It is the one and only Coach Tony, and this is the Pull Up Podcast Show. Excuse me. Thank you, God. Hope everyone had a very safe and enjoyable Memorial Day weekend. We are back tonight. Some exciting things have been going on. We're going to talk about these NBA playoffs. We're going to talk about the WNBA. And we got a brand new league that's launching very soon that you guys are going to want to know some information about. And I got my co-host, my ride or die, rolling with me tonight, Val, the Voice Johnson. And we'll be right back. Val, before we bring you out, before we kick all the ballistics, you know what to do. Drop.
It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. Val's the voice and Coach Tony, you know. It's the Pull Up Podcast. So, I said Val's the voice and Coach Tony, you know. It's the Pull Up Podcast. So, it's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast.
Man, welcome back tonight with your boy, the one and only Coach Tony. And this is the Pull Up Podcast Show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure we do a couple of housekeeping notes. Make sure you like us, share us, and more importantly, subscribe to the show. Send it to some of your friends and make sure they do absolutely the same. I'm going to bring my girl Val, the voice, out tonight. We're going to get out into some nitty-gritty discussion. I want to hear from you guys, from the audience tonight, because we got a couple of topics that's going to make you guys either scratch your head, think, or say, I don't know about that. I want to hear you. Bring out my girl tonight, the one and only Val, the voice, sitting in on double duty tonight. Val, welcome to the stage tonight.
Hi, Coach. How are you?
Got us lagging. I thought I was in one of those old school Bruce Lee movies when he talked, then the words come. What's going on?
There's a lot going on because I'm used to being in the background running things. So we're gonna
Exactly. I
we're
got
gonna
you.
run. Yeah.
I'm not driving the Uber today. You in the front seat. You know, the Uber puts you in the back. You in the front seat today.
No.
Got something that's pretty cool, and I know they're watching tonight. I'm gonna give a super duper shout out, of course, to Mason's Dogs here in Nashville, Val, to Brother Mason and Shantae Harris. My bad, Shantae Harris. I got an opportunity to stop by. Val, we got a Chicago-style hot dog, brats, links, the whole 9 yards, soul food place here in Nashville. Mason's Dogs. If you don't get an opportunity, if you're in the Nashville area checking out the show, make sure you stop by on Thompson Lane, right across from 100 Oaks Mall, Mason's Dogs. And of course, I got a shout out to the number one fan of mine and yours watching tonight. Wave at my baby girl, Skylar. What's going on? It's summertime now, Val, so she ain't got to go to sleep early. So she excited.
That's always wonderful when you have the grandbabies. I'm looking for their picture, but you didn't tell me you were going to give them a shout out, so I wasn't prepared. It's all good. How you doing?
How was your weekend? How was the Memorial Day? You was on a little vacation up in the New York City area, weren't you?
Just a little. I was still working. We were still working. We did not have a repis. We didn't have too much of a thing. So I'm so sorry. I got to get this tech thing done. So I had a good time. I visited some friends over in Brooklyn, and I need to visit more people because I only visit like a few folks, and then I have to make my way back but it is a good thing to be able to have fun and do our thing. And the fun thing about having we all know that Memorial Day is the unofficial start to summer. Is that correct? Is that
I
correct?
call it
That is correct.
Memorial Day and Labor Day is so much damn the same. I forget. Of course, can't keep my girl hanging on. Bella, baby, checking in, saying what the dealio is. Girl, I'm sorry for being late tonight. Little technicalities going on tonight, Bella. But you get it. Hey, thanks for checking in. We send you all the love. Justin, what's up, Coach? Coach Justin showing up. And hey, we got some topics tonight. Just I gotta have your opinion, man. Cause we're gonna be doing some arguing up here tonight. We're gonna get everything. What's up? Of course.
No,
keep
I'm a
checking
lover,
in.
not a fighter. I'm a lover, not a fighter. I
I like to fight
understand
in love. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
It's great,
Well,
great.
I don't know about none of that. I don't understand where we're going. You know what? Let's
but
just
the cool part about it is
right into this.
the cool part about it is that you had an opportunity to be up in New York. We're gonna go there because those Knicks, you should have been checking out some of them games up at Madison Square Garden, the oldest venue for basketball, the Madison Square Garden, where the Knicks play. But unfortunately, they got bounced. So they won't be seeing nowhere near no parts of no championship. Not this year. So the two teams, Val, that happen to have a hell of a run, one of which I've been telling you guys about since December. Coach Justin and I were just talking about this the other day. And when you got up into New York, the Knicks and the Pacers, I got to give it to them. It was a great series, excellent series. Jalen Brunson was putting up numbers, doing things that was incredible. But, Tyrese Halliburton and his main partners were doing the thug thizzle, Val. They was putting it down. And of course, the MVP of the Eastern Conference was none other than Pascal Siakam. And he's one of the brothers that happened to have a ring already that he won in Toronto, which was really good. And he had an opportunity to come down. So he's one of the more experienced people on that Indiana Pacers team. They have not been back to the conference finals since 2000, Val, since none other than my boy Reggie Miller, Jalen Rose, and Mark Jackson. Guess who was the coach of that team?
I forgot.
Larry Bird. So Larry Bird. And guess who they lost to?
Boston.
Nope. Who's your favorite NBA basketball coach?
Phil Jackson?
Bingo. They lost to Phil Jackson and the brand new Los Angeles Lakers. When they said he couldn't do it again, he left Chicago to go to LA, and they lost to none other than who? Our beloved Kobe and Shaq.
That's when things were really going for it right there. But yeah, you know what? I'm going to just say this because I lived in New York, and some of my people from New York are very happy I'm going to be saying this. Nothing against the Indiana Pacers, nothing against them. Great coaching staff is on all that as well. But I wanted to see New York wasn't playing Chicago, so I wanted to see what they were going to do. I was really pulling for them. And when I saw that they won and it was 3-2, I was thinking, okay, maybe. But I knew because the series ended up being in Indiana, I was thinking there's no way it's gonna go 7 games and they're gonna go find a way to go ahead and close it out and win in front of their home instead of going to back to New York. But those New York tickets, Chicago, I'm telling you, Tony, they were starting at $750 to $1,000, and you were somewhere.
Easy. Man, hey, let me tell you something, Val. You and I talked about this last week. I love LA. Don't get me wrong. I know they got stars, but man, let me tell you something. I know I'm from the Chi, but did you see the stars in New York in the Garden, starting with Spike Lee, Billy Crystal? I mean, I can go on and on. Your boy, what's his name from Do the Right Thing. I mean, from High Atlanta, the white cat. I can't think of his name right now, but they had some people that was out in stands. I'm like, oh my goodness, the Walt Frazier, the old school. You know what I love about Walt Frazier, Val?
What you
He
love
keep
about
it
Walt Frazier?
he keep it Bootsy Collins and Parliament Funkadelic. I don't give a damn where he go. He gonna wear the blow-fire collars with the clog hopper shoes. He keep his 70s, baby. Hey, that's
Mhm.
class. That's Walt Frazier. And he was on the sideline, Mello Anthony in the house. He was doing his thing, called Billy Crystal acting a fool. I mean, you just go on. I mean, it was just packed with New York celebs. I was like, man, that was right. And I wanted, don't get me wrong, I would really, really, really want it. OKC and New York Knicks because I wanted that Madison Square Garden atmosphere for the finals. You know what I mean?
Me
Not that
too. Me too.
Naptown don't have it. I know that's good. I'm glad. And not that they don't have it, but ain't nobody in Naptown. Not like they in New York. They coming
I
out the
know.
boroughs, baby. They coming out the boroughs, and the weather's gonna be like in the 80s. That's ideal. They gonna be everywhere.
And say that again. The Indiana Pacers has not been to the finals since the 1970s. When it was the
No,
last time they won?
so here's what you're looking at. The history will be set for everyone that's listening, and I got some picks in case you got some for promotional purposes only. And I know Coach Justin's listening to that. But
Mhm.
both of these teams, Val, no matter who wins, history will be set. The Indiana Pacers have never ever won a world championship in basketball, and the
Mhm.
Oklahoma Sooners are too young. The franchise is not that old, and they've never made it to the finals to win. So they're back to do that. They're trying to get to that hump. They had the big
Let me
three.
really quickly. I'm reading this, and I didn't know this. The Thunder, they said 1-1, but this was in 1979 when they were the Seattle Supersonics. Is that correct?
No. So what you got to look at it. So that was back during my uncle's time frame, and that don't count.
Mhm.
My uncle played with the Seattle Supersonics. My love, David Thompson, but he was there. That don't count. I don't care what they want to say. You can put that in however you want to put it in. You can put it in a blender, mix it in, make some nice Jiffy Mix cornbread muffins or whatever. But the Oklahoma Thunder has never, ever, ever won anything. That's no different than Val, our beloved Memphis Grizzlies, right? The Grizzlies transformed from Vancouver, Canada, to Memphis. But you can't. That's two different franchises. You move, right? You know, right
Mhm.
now, the Baltimore Colts don't say nothing when the Indiana Colts win, right? They the Baltimore Ravens. They don't try to say when Indiana Colts win. They don't try to say, hey, that's my victory. Come on, man. Don't do that.
So
They
we
don't do that.
so we put
And
there the Indiana Pacers. They've never won of NBA Finals, and
correct.
this is their first time winning the Eastern Conference champions. This is the first
No,
time.
no.
No.
That's what I'm saying. This is the first time they are making a return since 2000. That's what I was just saying with Reggie Miller, Jalen Rose, and Mark Jackson with Larry Bird, the coach. They made it in 2000, and they got beat by the Lakers with Shaq and company. So this is the first time that the Pacers is making it back to the finals in 25 seasons. As far as Oklahoma, this is the first time that they're ever making it to the final. So you have two teams, two new franchises that whoever wins, it'll be a first for the franchise, period.
All right. So what I wanted to do, and this was on my research, ladies and gentlemen, Val has to do research because if I don't do the research, then I don't know what I'm talking about, or I have to keep up with Coach before we before we go ahead and go to our first commercial. But I was looking at the Western Conference and kind of the stats after just before the playoffs, and the Thunder had been number one. Looked like they kept their number one spot the
All
entire
year,
season,
all year.
all year, which is interesting. I think years before the Warriors, they were at number 7. The Lakers were at number 3. The Nuggets was number 4. And then if we go over to the East, the Cavaliers were number 1 going into the playoffs. And the Knicks was number 3. But the Pacers was at number 4. So,
yeah, and we could have made some money. But before we get into that, because that's funny, because you made a great segue, because that's what I was going to talk about. We're going to take our first break of the night. We're going to come back to the NBA review just on the other side, Val. Let's go pay a couple of bills. We're going to pick this point right back up. We come right back on the Pull Up Podcast Show with your boy, the one and only Coach Tony, and ride with my sidekick right there, Val, the Voice Johnson. We'll be right back. Hey, it's your main man, right back at you, coming live here from the Rise Studio, and it's your guy talking about what? Pull Up Podcast Show. What is the Pull Up Podcast Show? It's a brand new podcast hitting your airways nationwide, talking everything on sports, from baseball, basketball, hockey, and then I tell you, we're going to have a lot of fun. So make sure, if you want your questions answered, you want to have fun talking a lot of sports, make sure you pull up on me, because it's the Pull Up Podcast Show.
It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up.
Also, for those that want to learn a little bit more about this right here, oh yeah, that right there, that's the Rise, NIL, talking name, image, and likeness. Those having opportunities, getting paid, you want to tune in to it.
Sports show, let's go. It's the Pull Up Podcast show. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up.
Welcome back to the Pull Up Podcast Show. It's your main man, the one and only Coach Tony, and my girl, Ride or Die, right here, as they say in the hood, right here, Val, the Voice Johnson. As we were saying, as we were going to commercial break, Val was explaining about this is the first time that the Indiana Pacers made it. Let me tell you how they got here, Val. This will show you how close to this race and for this ring is going to be. You're going to be amazed when you draw your question. And Coach Justin, I know you got something to say. Hold my boy Johnny Pratt and Jay Ward out there as well. But Indiana got here, Val, because they knocked off in the first round the Milwaukee Bucks, who were number 5 seeds. They beat them 4-1. Then they went to wonderful Cleveland, which you just said, which was number 1. They beat the number 1 seed 4-1. And then they ousted the New York Knickerbockers 4-2 to give them.
Knickerbockers. You didn't say Knickerbockers, did you?
Yeah, that's their name. The New York Knickerbockers. That's their name. So that to give them a finals record right now, Val, of 12-4. But here's what's so funny. The OKC Thunder, they went 4-0 against my raggedy Memphis Grizzlies right now, who was the number 8 seed. They ousted them in 4 games. Then they went 4-2 against Denver Nuggets. They beat Joker. When they beat Joker, I knew they was ready to rock and roll, because I'm like, you beat the defending champs and you beat them handily. And then they knocked out, of course, the Knicks, Michael Jordan and Baby Jordan and Anthony Edwards, 4-1, who was the number 6 seed. So now OKC, Val, rose into the final 12-3. So you got a 12-3 Western Conference final champion in OKC Thunder versus a 12-4 Indiana Pacers. So they are pretty much evenly matched. Now, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who played for OKC, he was not only the Western Conference MVP of the conference championship, Val, but he was also the overall MVP of the league, which I told people for promotional purposes only back in February he was going to do that. And for Indiana, Pascal Siakam, which surprised me, ended up being the Eastern Conference MVP, which I thought was going to be Tyrese Halliburton. Now, they're playing real good together. So what you got, Val, for this final game coming up that starts this week is 2 very young teams. You're talking about I want to say the average age is about 23, 24, very young. And I just don't think that Indiana, in my personal opinion, and this is for promotional purposes only, I got the Oklahoma Thunder winning the NBA championship in 4-2. I got it
Wow.
going 6 games, but I got the Thunder winning it 4-2. And I've got Shea Alexander, SGA, as we call him, from Oklahoma, Val, as the conference finals MVP. Now, he's done something that only one other player has done, and that's averaged 3 games of 2010. And you know who that other player was?
Don't know. Who is that?
Who is your favorite ball player of all times?
There are I have a lot of favorite ball players of all time.
No. You can't have one. You can't have a lot of favorites. Who is your favorite basketball player of all time? One person. One.
Michael Jordan.
Bingo. So he's the only other person since Michael Jordan to average that through a 3-game conference championship. So this is the kind of company that this young man right here that you got up right now, he's in that type of company with Michael Jordan. So I don't think that they're going to break the mold. And I think this young man is hungry right now, Val. He's going to walk home with a ring.
Well, he had been hungry all season. They had pretty much maintained the number 1 spot the entire season and ended with a very good win to loss record. So that's on my research. That's what I discovered, but I did not know that. I did not know that his record competitively was toward Michael Jordan. Had no clue about that.
Oh yeah. And speaking of competitively, as we spin on a dime, what is going on right now at the beginning of the season with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark? Man, they talking about these two women, and to me it's crazy because it was a great draft this year. Paige Beckers, Kiki Irfan from USC, she did something incredible. She became the first USC Trojan to get drafted, Val, in the top 10 since Pam McGee and Tina Thompson, which we call Grandmama back in the day. And I'm talking about over Cheryl Miller. So, but it's so crazy how, and I want to hear your opinion about this. And I want you guys, Bella, you out there, Justin, I definitely want to hear what you guys say. Why is it that we keep putting these two young women in Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese against one another for the WNBA? So the question on the table is this. Do we have to keep these two young women in our mouth in order to make the brand solidify what it's trying to do? Or are we just simply keeping these two young women in our mouth because there are no other players that excite us in the game? Even though we got Asia Wilson in Las Vegas, who just came off of 3 back-to-back MVP, and unfortunately she lost, but she did get 2 rings back-to-back. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on that, Val?
All right. So I was doing a little research on this, and keep in mind they're no longer rookies. This is now their second season with the WNBA. Correct? Okay,
yep. Great.
All right, and you're going a little fast, so I gotta play catch up here. I gotta change the graphics here. So the WNBA season has officially started, and Chicago Sky, of course, I'm looking at them.
Ooh, struggles.
Yeah, the first couple of games they lost, but now they won over the weekend. They won 2 over the weekend.
They won 3 in a row. So they're 2-3 right now. 2 and 4.
Right. So yeah, so that's good. That's great. But I think it's because of I saw Angel Reese in one of the games over the weekend do a lot of trash talking against another player. And I think, and I saw this on Twitter that they said, I want to see that type of trash talking, because I don't think there's been a lot of folks that's had Reese's, I want to call it, fervor for the game. I don't know if I don't really see Caitlin trash talking, but right now she is injured. And so I believe Indiana has now lost a few because she's
Yep.
on the injured side of things. But it's because of the excitement they brought last year. Ticket sales have gone up. I don't necessarily know if the salaries have gone up for the women. However, Angel Reese is very exciting to watch. She's, she brings that LSU, fire that she had as a college student to the sky, and she trash talks. And she's like, when she makes a shot and she's looking at a player that she's like going up against and, offensively, and she makes that shot, she talks crap as she backs away from him. I see it. So I'm thinking people love that. People love that. So I think that's one of the things that people are checking out. Would you agree with that? I don't know.
Man, 100% shit. I trash talk. I love it. I just finished trash talking earlier tonight. I got practice. I just talked crazy in two of my players' ear tonight. Told them that they suck. And I told them they got to play better.
Why would you tell your players? Why would you tell your players that they suck? Come on, Tony. Don't do that.
You play for Coach Tony. Coach Justin will tell you I'm going to keep it 100. If you ain't out on this floor giving me everything that I need and what I think you need to do, then I'm going to tell you how you really playing. Because when you see it, like, oh, my God, Coach Tony just said I suck. Wow. Am I really that bad? Because I want you to be out there thinking, why did Coach Tony say that? That's no different than Angel Reese. If I'm guarding you, Val, and you're supposed to be one of the best players on the opposite team, and you miss a shot, I'm going to tell you you can't shoot. Man, somebody gave you the wrong report, Val. You can't shoot worth a damn. But then if you miss your second shot, and I go, look at that, you suck. You actually can't shoot. Then what have I just done? If you are a player that's not mentally strong, you're going to let me get to you, and I won the battle. I'm going to then take you out of your game, and you're no longer good to your team. So now it's you versus me. Because every time you get the ball, you don't even see your teammates, Val. All you see is trying to get back at me. And that's my job. And then I've won. But if you're someone like a Caitlin Clark, which is like a Steph Curry, who don't give a damn about that, and Caitlin talks a lot of trash like Larry Bird, then she can bag it up because she got that fire jump shot. But here's what's so crazy. And you put it on the table a moment ago.
Mm-hmm.
It goes to show you, Val, how important this young lady is to the league, because they opened up 2-0, tied for first place. She got injured, and they haven't won again. They've lost 3 straight games with her being on the injury report. And Angel Reese took 2 straight losses, Val, and then she woke up, and then they won 2 and lost 1. So then she said, okay, maybe some of this is getting in my head. So these 2 young women are like been phenomenal for the game. But what I don't want people to forget is we just came off one heck of a season. And we got 2 other people that I like that I think they're going to fight for possibly in Rookie of the Year. And that's going to be Kiki Irfan, who came out of USC Trojans. She ended up being the highest draft person out of USC, over top of Cheryl Millival and Tina Thompson and Pam McGee, which both are Olympians. They won 1 and 2. And that was the beginning of the WNBA draft, Val, back in 97, 98, I think it was. And she became that first person since then. And then you got Paige Becker. You and I talked about Paige Becker. Paige came from UConn. She had a hell of a year. She got drafted number 1. Both of these young women are having a phenomenal season right now, but things keep going back to Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. And here's the question on the table, and I'm going to break it down to you. And Justin, you and I talked about this, so hopefully you're still listening. Val, did you hear the comment that RG3, and for those that don't know, that's Robert Griffin III, who played for the Washington Redskins. Did you hear the comment that he made against Angel Reese, that my man, my frat brother, and all that, Ryan Clark from the Pivot Podcast show, had to check him on?
I did not hear this.
So let me bring you up to speed, everybody. So 2 weeks ago, this became hot. Angel Reese received the ball down low. Caitlin Clark made a very hard foul. She fouled her, Val, so hard that it knocked Angel Reese to the floor. Angel Reese got up, and as she got up, just like a normal person, she jumped off the floor hot, ready to fight. Okay? This has happened to Michael Jordan when Bill Laimbeer, Isaiah Thomas pushed him to the floor, happened to Magic Johnson, happened to Shaquille O'Neal, happened to Kobe, right? But for everyone that's listening to my voice, RG3 decided to make it personal. He then came on the air because he's no longer with ESPN, and he made a statement that Angel Reese was about or ready to lose her contract because she was going to get up and do something, as he called, stupidity against Caitlin Clark, which happens to be a white player. Angel Reese, obviously a black young lady. And he made that not really knowing the assessment of the game and not really knowing what's going on, because he, being a quarterback, has taken several dirty hits. And he's also jumped up off the ground and looked at somebody and pointed him out and wanted to do something, but he's got football pads on. So Ryan Clark, our frat brother, beloved Kappa Alpha Psi, came in, stepped in, and told RG3, get this, Val, you can't make an assessment on Angel Reese because you never had a black woman in your house. You've been married not to one, but to two white women. So for you to make a comment about what Angel Reese is going to do, that's kind of touch and go. After I dug into the situation, I came to find out that RG3 and Ryan Clark has had some history together because they both served on ESPN, Football Day, and so forth and so on. And RG3 didn't do the things he's supposed to do. And obviously Ryan Clark didn't appreciate it. And so RG3 got let go. So my question tonight, for those that are listening, we're going to take our halftime break real quick. But when we come back on the other side, was Ryan Clark right to check RG3 on the chin like that? Or do you think that RG3 had a point about Angel Reese jumping off the ground and trying to fight Caitlin Clark? We're going to take our halftime break. We're going to finish this discussion on the other side. Val, let's pay some bills. We'll be right back on the Pull Up Podcast Show.
Oh boy. All right.
Are you a small business owner looking to grow? Introducing the KeySpot mobile app. I'm Cynthia McAllister, owner of the IT company Quality SAP. Since 2016, we have been supporting small businesses and help them promote and share their businesses, services, and events across the country. KeySpot is more than just an app. We are a network providing community. KeySpot, connecting communities and supporting small businesses.
Yeah, and I was on your IG and I saw a picture of you and Al Jarreau.
Yeah, I met Al Jarreau after a show. We hang out together in an after party. George Duke was an actual friend of mine. We actually did a joint project in LA. Literally shared the stage with Shaka Khan at one point, and you know, she was performing and I was performing after her. It's one of those things you go, is this really happening? Is this really happening to me?
Of all of the heroes that you've met, who was the one that stood out the most?
I think for me, I think George Duke.
Yeah.
Because he was just not just a musician or a producer, but he sort of was an architect of style.
The
Man,
technical things that happen in this situation is just
man, you know how
cracking
we
me up.
rock and roll. Welcome back to the
Yeah.
Pull Up Podcast Show. I want to read something so
So
funny. Coach Justice says,
what
now
he
because both of them to mess with the pink toes. But Justin, I don't know if I don't know if that's right. I don't think Ryan Clark has done that. I know I met my brother, man, when I was, in Phoenix last year, going to see the Colorado Buffalo. Deion Sanders came to town. He got that chocolate in him, man. His son played for Arizona State. Obviously, he's transferred now, but I know for sure Robert Griffin's had two. And Val, what do you think about that comment, Val?
So I'm looking at this, and I'm trying to figure it all out here because I wasn't able to. You didn't really go into detail when we were taking our notes about this, about what the exact controversy was. But I see with Ryan Clark, he sounds off. He says one thing we know about RG3 is that he's not having conversations at his home about what
Right,
Black women have
correct.
to endure in this country,
Right,
about
that's what I
what
was
young
just saying.
Black women let me finish reading it now, about what young Black women and athletes like Angel Reese have had to deal with being on the opposite side of Caitlin Clark's rise and the ascension into stardom. This is good. I guess this is good things to talk about. These are good things to kind of, get out into the open. And I think if we get into who RG3 is married to and who he's not had conversations with, he got here through a Black woman. If you're a Black man, you got here through a Black woman, or however that works. But I think to criticize, and I'm referring to RG3 criticizing Angel and not really understanding kind of the WNBA and all that, how that all works. You're speaking and giving your opinion about something that you haven't educated yourself on. I've had to educate myself on what's been happening with the WNBA, and I'm not going to make a crazy statement saying that to be a white woman like Caitlin Clark, they're putting her up there because she's white and she has no talent. Have I actually been watching Caitlin Clark? Did I actually see her and how she brought up Iowa, how she pretty much carried that team on her back? Like and to put in race and to do all of this takes away from the fun and the excitement that these two women have brought to the league. And it has not been exciting. It's been exciting to watch it before, but it's now exciting to watch it with these two because of what they bring. But let's not get into the weeds of, oh, she doesn't know. Because I think I saw the original tweet from Robert Griffin III after watching Caitlin Clark's flagrant foul on Angel Reese and the aftermath. There's no way Angel Reese can continue the lie that she doesn't dislike Caitlin Clark. I know what hatred looks like. Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark, not some basketball rivalry hate either. It's hate. And I'm thinking, why would you say that?
Correct.
Do you not want these young women to do well in their sport? Do you not support women? Forget the race. Do you not support women? Did we forget about everything that Brittany Griner went through, being overseas and being, because of a war, couldn't come? Like I don't think we did we forget this? Do we forget how little the women of the WNBA are being paid compared to the bench man on the NBA makes more per year than the top player?
No. The towel man, to put the towels, the dude that put the towels on the damn chairs so he can wipe their damn faces, make about the same amount of money. I'm not bullshitting, but listen, let me tell you something. You hit everything on. The only thing you didn't open up, and I'm gonna go back to your first point that you could have dug a little deeper. And I know you're doing a great job, and I really appreciate you on that. Is the simple fact of the matter is that, as Justin just said, Caitlin Clark didn't ever foul her that hard because let me tell you something. I got the shit kicked out of me several times, especially coming up in high school, man, in the park. I grew up in Chicago and New York playing ball. What? Foul? Man, you didn't get no foul unless you had blood on your arm. And Caitlin Clark took what we call a hard foul. If you
She
don't
did.
understand, and I keep explaining to these young guys, Val, that follow me, if you don't understand what a hard damn foul is, you need to go to YouTube. You need to Google the Detroit Pistons, and you need to Google the Boston Celtics in the 80s. And that's why we always argue about LeBron and these guys playing, because they were going to kill you if you came down there and you get clothesline. And why did you think Michael Jordan had a book Val wrote on him called The Jordan Rules from Detroit? Because they had certain rules if Michael got into a certain part of the lane. So now you fast forward and you get to these two women who are in the WNBA, who are marquee players. But here's the funny part about it. You know what the funniest part about it all, Val?
Mhm.
Neither one of these women has won a WNBA ring. And they get more exposure than Breonna Stewart from the New York Liberty, who won a ring. And
They won
Nafisa
last year.
Collier from Minnesota Lynx, who played against her, and Nafisa Collier and Breonna Stewart hooked up together to create what, Val? Unrivaled basketball, which obviously we know we had a guest on talking about that. But I think what's happening is these two women, like you said, from Iowa and LSU, has had this feud going on like Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. Go back to the late 70s, early 80s. There was no other talk in the first 4 or 5 years of the league from 1979 to what year, Val? 1984. And what happened in 84? I'll tell you because you may not know. Michael Jordan came to the Bulls. So between 79 and 83, the only talk in the NBA was Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and then, of course, Dr. J slid in there with a ring in 83, 84. So you're looking at these two women. And although they're not, RG3 is a quarterback. He's a black quarterback. 2 white wives. Now, I'm not saying that Ryan Clark, my frat brother, should have brought his wife up and all that, but he didn't say anything bad about it. He just simply said that the only reason why his wife even became part of the picture is because RG3, Val, made this big old stink about him being married to a beautiful white woman and what black women can't do. So that lets me know right there, you're not an Angel Reese fan. You're more of a Caitlin Clark fan. And then he put it on his shoulder and try to wear it on his sleeve when he said what you just mentioned a moment ago, that it shows because Angel took a hard foul that she hates Caitlin Clark. Wait a minute. If Angel Reese got the ball in the hand, Val, and she's going for a layup and she gets the shit knocked out of her and she gets hit hard, who got the foul? She took the foul, not Caitlin Clark, but Angel Reese took the foul. So I was glad that our Ryan Clark had to check him because these two women have been very astronomical in the changing of the guards. Right, Val? Me and you both know, and you just said it. Without Caitlin Clark, without Angel Reese, the salaries in the WNBA don't go up. You and I both know that. And they're still too low. $225,000 is what Caitlin Clark signed for. She makes more damn money, Val, with Jake from State Farm.
And I think that's how and that was the reason why Brittany Griner was over in Russia anyway. That was a lot of the WNBA players that were playing in other overseas. I am always reminded of my favorite film, Love and Basketball, even though it was fictitious, but it was
real.
based on, it was real. It was based on, and you saw the main character played by Sanaa Lathan, brilliantly played by Sanaa Lathan, and how lonely she was over in Spain playing the game she loved, but there was no, at the time, WNBA in the States. And so when it happened and she was able to be playing in her home field at the at the Forum, and it was with the LA Sparks. This was a big deal. And so I think I love the way Gina Prince Bythewood, the filmmaker, just kind of honored that and said, do you see what women in basketball that love basketball had to go through before they got to there, before there was a league called the WNBA? And before we run out of time, definitely, and going into our last segment, I'd love for us to talk about a women's league on the other side of this that we've been talking about when we had Ryan Reed on. I guess it's important for other leagues to start. So, but
It's
Coach,
definitely important.
Mhm.
And you gave the best segue of all, Val, because what you just said is spot on. I was thinking about the same thing, loving basketball. I mean, you talked about it
Yeah,
100
I love
times. But besides Brown Sugar, that's one of our best movies, right? And
it. Exactly.
the pickup line in Brown Sugar is, when did you love hip hop? No different than in loving basketball. It's like, when did you fall in love with basketball? I think they stole the line, but I think you were
Mhm.
right on that. And we're going to talk about the leagues that are starting that took Brittany Griner from Russia back to the States, along with a few other women, and how they
Mhm.
could get involved, and how the United States is now starting to produce its own product, keeping it right here on our own home soil, and these women are getting paid. Let's take our last break of the day, looking at Coach Tony, and this is the Pull Up Podcast Show with my girl right there to my side, my sidekick, my roadie, like Batman and Robin, Val the Voice. We'll be right back in the fourth quarter. This is the Pull Up Podcast Show.
I've always thought about how my mom has supported me in any creative endeavor. How beautiful was it for your mom to be the superhero in your life and show up in your creative ventures with this book?
People ask her to sign the book more than they ask me to sign the book. Sometimes I step to the side, I take their picture. And, we have to celebrate our mothers. We got to celebrate our beginning.
There you go.
So she comes out with me. Every event, she is there. Even when I tell her she does not need to come, she will show up in the parking lot. And I'm like, oh, okay, you coming? Okay. I'm like, all right.
Right. And she got a bottle of wine in her hand.
What
Yeah.
in the world? Why are you giving her alcohol? Don't.
No, I'm just saying. She showed up in the parking lot. She got a bottle of wine, nice wine. She's going to set it down. She ready for the show, Val. You know what I'm saying? Because the funny part about it is, CJ, I've actually talked to Val. I thought about, writing a book myself called My Man's in There.
I love it.
And look at Val.
My
Yeah.
man's in them.
My
Can
man's
you
in
feel
there.
that?
But you got to read the book. You got to read the book. But it's a play. CJ, I apologize because Val should have dropped some old Dub C so you could have came out crip walking. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not flamed up right now. I got to hold on. Trying to get me shot.
Going back to school tomorrow, like, I saw
gotta go
you,
work tomorrow.
I saw you, Miss Charles. I saw you.
I mean, I can crip walk, so please, but I'm kind of, authoring right now. You guys are funny.
Man, welcome back. Look at this. Welcome back.
It's the Women's Basketball League. Woohoo!
Yeah. Man, welcome back to the Pull Up Podcast. So we pull up to the fourth quarter and play one of my favorite commercials. Shout out to CJ Charles, author, writing those kids' books. I can't wait to get her back on interludes, man. That's my girl, Welcome back to the fourth quarter on the Pull Up Podcast. So Coach Justin said something interesting. He said, as we keep talking about the Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, what we keep forgetting is that this is a league, Val. This is basketball. Ain't nobody getting paid for free stuff. You're going to take hard fouls and everything that goes on. And if you stick around the league long enough, two things are going to happen to you. You and I both know this. One is an injury, and two, you're going to get hit with a hard foul if you're a good player. Because if you're a good player, you got to show me that you're that good. Because everybody wants to do what, Val? Knock off the top guy. Right?
Something like that. Something like
Right?
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Mike Tyson was on the top. They couldn't wait to whoop his ass. They tried to get him out. Right? When Michael Jordan was killing him, they couldn't wait till Mike stopped winning rings. Right? So we already know that. But in terms of that, you had a hell of a segue. And this young man, I talked to Ryan Reed, my boy, my homeboy, CEO of the Women's Basketball League. For those of you that don't know, you're going to be able to tune in. Tomorrow night, Val, tomorrow night is the first annual tryouts. So it's going to be like a draft combine tryout for the brand new, revised, regenerated, re-owned, everything, the brand new Women's Basketball League. And they're going to be headquartered out of Detroit. They will have 6 teams this year to start off. That will be our beloved. And you better tell me, Val, you got some tickets, because these tickets should be no more than about $15 to $20. But the Chicago Flame has got a team. The Cleveland Rockers has a team. The Detroit Shock, one of the original teams, has a team. We're going to go north of the border to Toronto, Val, and Toronto North Stars has a team. The Grand Rapids Soul. They better be, they gonna probably be some thick girls. They may have some food. But and the last one is the Indiana Thunder. And what not to be great to get the Indiana Pacers in the final, and then you launch the WBL Indiana Thunder right behind them. And by the way, for those that don't know, this league was actually the original league before the WNBA, and 2 of my beloved guests, and Cynthia Crawley-Spahn and Rusha Brown, and Coretta Brown were on the show, on the Pull Up podcast, talked about the old league and what they were able to accomplish. And then along came the WNBA. Now, the good thing about this league, Val, it will run during the exact same time as the WNBA moving forward, which is basically June through October. This year, they're giving what they call a shortened season sample run. It's going to be 6 weeks from July, basically the end of June, all the way through the middle of August, to do a test run. The games are only going to be played in Detroit, Michigan, and in Toronto, Canada, for this first season. And then after that, they will expand to a 30-game schedule starting next year with fully blown out executives and sponsors and the whole 9 yards. So I'm excited for Ryan, Cynthia, and Rusha Brown bringing this league in. And I just had a conversation with him a few weeks ago, Val, and I'm like, you guys should be basically the brand new G League, right, Val, for women's basketball for the WNBA, kind of like the G League is to men, right? Because you got 6 teams. Exactly. And if you remember when Ryan was on the show, he talked a little bit about that they're going to have a 15-man roster, but they only could sign 12 women, and the other 2 or 3 spots will be left open for reserves of professional teams that want to send women down to rehab to bring them back up. That's excellent, because if they can show how Val DeVoice, who plays in New York, got a hurt ankle, she's out for 4 weeks, and she can go rehab with a franchise team and work on that injury and then work her way back into playing, they could be on to something in the next few years. Val, they could possibly be the brand new G League, something brand new that the NBA did.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that would be so good to have that. If you don't make it to the WNBA, you can make it to the WBL. And we were really pleased with Ryan was just really excited about sharing how much this meant for him, and for this to get started up with in Detroit, which is for me down the street. Detroit's down the street from me in Chicago, right? So but I think that was important, that just kind of representing women well in sports and giving them a voice in how they do that. And then, of course, you have former WNBA players that are, who you just mentioned, Rusha Brown, and they're coming on to make sure that the women are coached well and
Correct.
led well, managed well, which is always important. So
Yes.
hats off to Ryan Reed. Hats off to him. It was so good to have him on the show about a month ago. He was on the show about a month.
Right about it. And I got a shout out to one of my ball players, and Jonah Jones. She's one of my ball players that one of my clients signed to the Rise NIL, doing her sports marketing. Man, she is a beast out of Memphis. By the way of Arkansas State, went to Dillard University as well, HBCU, and back home to Memphis. And she is one of the candidates, Val, that will have an opportunity to try for a spot. And I really like what Ryan was telling you and I, Val, because he's trying to do this as professional as possible. They got tryouts, the 2-day tryouts starting tomorrow. They'll go through the same kind of combine that the WNBA does. And then they'll have an official draft. I think the draft is on, I think he said the 12th. So that's next week is the draft. So I love it. So these teams not only get an opportunity to watch these young women go out and perform, like you said, but think about these young women, Val, that have went to the WNBA but still want to play. But, I got one kid or two kids at home, and I don't feel like traveling over to London and Germany and Australia and Spain and being 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 hours away. I now can sign to a team here in the States that currently is a Midwestern organization that's about to expand. And I've already talked to Ryan. So for some of you guys that listen to this show tonight, the Pull Up Podcast show, I spoke to Ryan about possibly bringing a franchise to Nashville, Val, and looking forward to that. And if he brings one to Nashville, it's on and popping. Because trust me, we're going to have it rocking and rolling.
Oh, let's take a listen real quick.
We've been talking to them. Vire Network has a deal for us. I also have the WBL Network. So you're going to see us on YouTube, Facebook, things like that. So those are, for the tournament, those are 3 possible networks, and they should be narrowed down within the next 2 weeks.
Okay. Yeah, good. And then the brand itself, the logo. Who put the logo together? Are you still doing some merch branding right now? Because, I'm swinging them sticks, man, so I'm going to need a hat, something.
I got you.
Box,
I got you. I had the most generic logo before I met Sylvia. When I say she the backbone, she the backbone. Her
right.
company, her company, Lou, put it together for me. They did the whole branding, changed the whole logo. The first logo was orange. It just said WBL in black letters with a girl dribbling. So Sylvia came through and she she did her thing. Her.
What's good about what's happening with the WBL is just all of the wonderful support that's coming in for Ryan.
Yes.
So Ryan's not running this by himself. It's not the blind leading the blind. He got help with the logo, which is always exciting. And for me to go right to the website and just literally see exactly the 6 teams that are going to be playing. This is really exciting. So no diss to the WNBA. We're happy that you guys are around. We no diss to them.
Got to create competition, baby. Got to create competition. Speaking of that, I got to shout out to my girl April tonight. What's up, April? I didn't see you earlier. Thank you for checking in. And Val, I think you hit it on the head. To have an organization kick off, right? Let's say you were starting a company of a tech company, and I gave you Pookie and Ray Ray to talk about what you're going to do. But then you walk into a convention, and on the other side of the floor, you saw Bill Gates, and Jeff Bezos. You were like, hey, Pookie and Ray Ray, I appreciate y'all, but I'm going to holler at y'all later. I'm going to go here to the 2 tech giants to find out. I think Ryan has done just that. I think he's put the WBL, first of all, Val, I love what they did, and they spun it to this was the original WNBA. So for those women, imagine the Cynthia Coopers and the Tina Thompsons and Pam McGee's and all those, Val, that was there before the WNBA. You know what I'm saying? Nancy Lieberman and all those. Just imagine them. They were there doing this old logo. They were there doing the old time when they, like you said, women basically played for fun. If they got $3,000 or $10,000, they was cool with that because they had a
We're
family.
happy with that. Mhm.
Right now, it's a sport. Spalding has came in and said, we're going to be the official basketball. That's huge. That's the same thing the NBA got. Then they come in and get a network. And then I know they're working with Nilo TV and us on a TV brand deal to try to put the games out there. So hats go off to Ryan, to Cheryl Spahn, Carly Spahn, and then, my girl, Rusha Brown for putting things together. And the Women's Basketball League is coming. Right now, again, 6 teams, 6. But Val, I think if Ryan and these guys, and I told him this, Val, if he merged to some cities before the WNBA, he may be a winner. Like Nashville's hot right now. We know that because Athletes Unlimited came here. And they've been kind of pussyfooting around about whether they're going to get a WNBA team. Now, think about it. I told Ryan, I said, man, think about if you drop here with a WBL team before the WNBA come to town and kind of suck up them players and kind of get the city behind you. Because this city is way no different than Jacksonville and Charlotte, North Carolina. I love it, Val. I absolutely love it.
It's really a big deal. And so we're mentioning all of this because number one, we had Ryan on, so we're really happy about that. And then on top of everything, we have as I mentioned earlier, former WNBA players who understand they were a part of the league, the main league, and now this, you said, would be a great companion if just like the G League to the NBA. But
Yep.
I know I'm looking forward to this. The Chicago Flames, we got the Cleveland Rockers, Detroit Shock, Toronto North Stars. You got the Grand Rapids Soul, so that's there in Detroit, and then the Indiana Thunder. This is really exciting.
I like the Soul out of better. If I was a Soul, I would go try to find Don Cornelius' family, and I'd be like, we are the Grand Rapids Soul. I just wouldn't say train. You ain't got to say train, Val. That way you ain't got to pay nobody.
The Soul Train.
We the Soul. Hey, listen. Thank you for sitting in tonight. Now I got to get, before we get out of here, for promotional purposes only.
Here we go.
Who is winning the NBA Finals from Val the Voice?
You're gonna ask me that question, huh?
Yeah.
You're just gonna
Don't go look at I don't need you to look that up on Google. I need to know from your heart who's going to win between OKC and Indiana.
So let me get ready here. The team that I wanted to be in the finals is not there, so I have no allegiance to know whatchamacallit. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys want to check out the NBA Finals, they're going to start streaming on ESPN on this coming Thursday, June 5th, and also, I believe, on ABC. I think it's going to be on ABC as well. I think it's going to be OKC. I think it's going to be the Oakland Thunder because of their very steady record over the 2024-2025 NBA season and how they showed up that Minnesota that last the Minnesota Timberwolves, they oh, good gracious, they set them children down. So I saw their players and I've gotten familiar with who is there. So Indiana's like right next door, but I was really hoping for the Knicks. I'm sorry. So I have no luck. I'm sorry. I have no pony in the race. There's no dog in the race for me. You got me?
I got 2 ponies in the race.
Ah,
but
here
I
you
got
go.
one that's a pure thoroughbred, and that's them Oklahoma City Thunder. And I got them for promotional purposes only. I have them winning in 6, 4-2, going home. And Shea Gilgeous Alexander, MVP of the finals. If you got some promotional dollars, put him on that. Bank it. 6 games, OKC way, SGA MVP finals. And the last question of the night, looking at the WNBA. We know that the New York Liberty, which made you happy last year, I remember, because even though the Knicks didn't win, the Liberty won for the women. Who do you think going to win this year? What team do you think going to win this year? I can tell you who I got, if you have an idea.
For the WNBA?
For the WNBA.
It's still too early.
Wait, never too. It's like they say about getting something to drink. It's 12 o'clock somewhere.
I understand it's 12 o'clock somewhere, but here's the thing. It would be nice if the New York Liberty came back to defend their championship, because I
I
believe
give you that.
they haven't
Undefeated.
lost a game. They're undefeated right now, right?
6-0. 6-0. And I give you that. But I'm going to give you one for promotional purposes again.
Oh my gosh.
I give you what Val just said, the New York Liberty going back to the finals with Breonna Stewart. But I think she meets her nemesis again in Nafisha Collier and the Minnesota Lynx. And this time, I think Minnesota gets the job done in 5 games, because the women only play 5 versus 7. I think Minnesota wins 3-2 all 5 games. So again, if you're going to FanDuel, if you're going to MGM, I have Oklahoma Thunder 4-2, SGA MVP. I have Minnesota over New York Liberty, Nafisha Collier MVP. Play that for promotional purposes only. This is your boy, the one and only Coach Tony, and that is, what's your name, girl?
I'm
Val, the
sorry.
voice, you have to
I'm
say
sorry.
something again.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna do this real quick. It's overtime. It's overtime.
It's like the NBA game. Every NBA game been in overtime. Yeah, that's how it is. But it's been great.
Okay.
Talk to us a little bit about what's going on tomorrow night, Val.
Well, before we do that,
Oh, we got to talk about this.
No. I have to bring in somebody to do this, because this is, I can't host and tech. I can't do hosting and tech anymore. I've now realized.
You multitasking. I love it. You get multitasking.
The multitasking thing has got to come to the thing. Okay. Thanks, Val, for joining us on the Pull Up Podcast Show. She's going to go back to being a producer and doing things in the background as a tech person. Yay. Okay. So the Coach is going to talk about his company called The Rise at .nil. What we're going to talk about. What is The Rise about, Coach?
Man, let me tell you something. The last few weeks, Val, I've really been proud of myself, Val. I just finished up my master's program with the NIL sports marketing. I'm very happy from Sports Management Worldwide. I'll be posting that pretty soon. And that is to help me out to get my sports agency in the right direction, signed another athlete. So I'm at 5 athletes signed, 3 brands with me right now, and keep moving. But the Rise NIL, what we do is we kind of, help athletes unleash their potential, Val, in the world of sports, teaching them basically how to market themselves and their brand so that they can make an opportunity for a good living for themselves. And if the brand loves it, then we bring the brand to the athlete. If you want to know more about that, then reach out to Coach Tony at the Rise, RIZENIL.com to learn more, or just simply hit me in my DM on Instagram at the Pull Up Podcast Show. You can get me that way as well.
Thank you so much for talking about the rise dot
And your
NIL.
book should be in paperback by now, right? We talked about that.
Yes, and I'm gonna that's the reason why I stopped sharing. I'm gonna be talking about that. We are going to be the book A DJ Saved My Life. There we go. It's going to be a paper edition of this. Now, this is a notebook, but I just like to show what it would possibly look like, which is always good. So I'm excited about A DJ Saved My Life. I'm supposed to be getting a shipment either today. No, well, today is over. Tomorrow or Wednesday.
I'm about to say, you get a shipment tonight. Your boy's working late.
So I'm supposed to be getting that shipment in, and I'm really excited about it. And so we're going to be doing our thing, and I'm just really excited that it's going to be happening. So yeah, so I'm like I said, I'm really excited. Let me see if I can bring this up really quickly, because I meant to have this here we go. We're coming up on the 5th anniversary of our situation here, the Pull Up Podcast Show, the Interludes Extra, and the Talk on Tuesdays, as well as the Interludes Podcast. It started in June 26, 2020, so it's the 5th anniversary that we're coming up on. So that's what we celebrate in June. I gotta get me another mouse. This thing is acting silly. But the main thing is that June is Black Music Month, and tomorrow we're going to be chit-chatting about house music, which is really important. So we're going to have a good time. We're both DJs. We're both DJs, so we're going to be celebrating that because June Black Music Month. And so for this week we'll be doing house music. Next week it'll be R&B, and then the following week we'll be doing hip hop and R&B, and then probably wrapping some things up with either gospel or a few others. But tune in. The Pull Up Podcast Show, the Interludes Podcast, and Interludes Extra presents Talk on Tuesday. As June is Black Music Month, so I just definitely want to make sure that I mention that. And so that is it.
Man, Val, in the words of my girl Grace Jones, thank you for putting up to the bumper, baby.
Oh, here we go.
That's how we do. Hey, that's the early sign to the house music segment tomorrow night. For those, thank you again for tuning in tonight with your boy, the one and only Coach Tony. This is the Pull Up Podcast Show, Ride and Die with my girl, the one and only Val, the voice, Johnson. But you know our wonderful words as we get up out of here. And what is that, Val?
Peace.
It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. Bounce the voice and Coach Tony, it's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. I said bounce the voice and Coach Tony, it's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. Kev is the engineer. Val is the one you hear. Hey, Coach Tony got the sports show. Let's go. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. I said Kev is the engineer. Val is the one you hear. Hey, Coach Tony got the sports show. Let's go. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast.